For those who believe in a just God, what I'm about to explain will be a vindication. For those who do not believe, it will be an interesting revelation. For about 1,250 years, the self-destructive information was and is embedded in Muhammad's Quran and Sunnah, but for whatever reason, has escaped the attention or logic of billions of people. What is remarkable is that the first verse, ayah, that was presumably revealed to Muhammad contains the complete refutation of Muhammad's claim for prophethood and the alleged divine origin of his Quran. To demonstrate this, I shall analyze the verse word by word and build up my facts step by step based entirely upon the Arabic of Muhammad's Quran, the Ahadith, and his Sunnah. I would like all of you to put in your mind one of the most astonishing and revealing facts that no follower of Muhammad will ever bring to anyone's attention, that every single item recorded in his Quran and every single story told by Muhammad to his wives and companions were never witnessed by any others besides Muhammad. Moreover, many of the most important of them, according to the hadith, occurred unobserved and uncorroborated by anyone else in the dead of night, always in the dead of night. All that humanity has are Muhammad's own words, presumed to be truths, told to his wives and followers over a very long period of 23 years of made-to-order revelations as, when, and where he needed them to materialize. The first verse that was allegedly revealed to Muhammad occurred when he was alone at night, of course, in the Hira cave while he was meditating. His encounter with the angel Gabriel was both frightening and violent. Gabriel allegedly revealed the following verses to Muhammad. Surah Al-Alaq 96.1. Read in the name of thy Lord, who created man from a clot of congealed blood. In Arabic it is, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق. Many of the translators of the Quran, both Arabs and others, translate correctly the word اقرأ to read. Others, understanding the inherent catastrophic consequences of such a translation, insist it means recite. According to the hadith that attempt to explain the background of this historic verse, 3 times Gabriel repeated the instruction to read, and 3 times Muhammad told Gabriel that he, Muhammad, was illiterate who cannot read. Bukhari Hadith 1.3, 6.478, 6.480, and 9.111, narrated by Aisha, are supposedly the only sources explaining the background for the revelation of these verses. Let us investigate the consequences of translating Iqra as either read or recite. First, the case for read. Gabriel, according to the Quran, was the one who conveyed Allah's revelation verbatim to Muhammad. Question 1. If Muhammad was illiterate, how is it possible for the all-knowing Allah, if Allah is the same as the God of Abraham, Moses, and Jesus, not know that Muhammad was unable to read? Question 2. Is it possible that Gabriel revealed the wrong word? And if so, how is that logical or plausible? Now the case for recite. Recite means to convey a message without reading it from a document, such as singing, poetry, or telling a story. Question 1. Even if Muhammad were illiterate, that is, he could not read or write, this does not negate his ability to repeat a verse after Gabriel. Question 2. If Iqra means recite, Gabriel did not actually reveal anything to Muhammad to recite. Muhammad's answer should hence have logically been, what should I recite, and not the alleged I cannot read. Taking either situation to its ultimate analysis, one must conclude that either Allah is not God, or that Gabriel is an idiot, or both. In either case, this verse and the hadith that explain the event are contrary to logic and theology. Question 3. Is it possible that it is correctly mentioned in the Quran, but that the background for the event was altered or tampered with by Bukhari to cover up the fact that Muhammad could actually read, and that he was not illiterate? The reason for this manipulation had been and continues to be the erroneous and false dogma that only if Muhammad were illiterate could one explain the alleged perfection of the Quran, since it was dictated to him by Allah through the angel Gabriel. The answer to these points that I raise is simple. When one truly studies the hadiths and commentaries made by Muhammadan exegetes decades after his death, hidden in Muhammad ibn Ishaq's monumental biography of Muhammad, Sirat Rasulullah, that was translated by Alfred Guillaume as The Life of Muhammad, page 106, there is a gem of a report regarding the very first and original version of the alleged encounter between Muhammad and the angel Gabriel that tells us that the angel actually produced a coverlet of brocade whereon was some writing. Hence, verse 96.1 can only make sense if Gabriel knew that Muhammad could read what was written on the coverlet. This would obviously change the whole state of affairs, as deliberately altered and falsified by the later Muhammadans dramatically and fundamentally. Please be aware that since Ibn Ishaq was both an Arab and a Muhammadan Muslim, and was historically the nearest to the sources of information, his report should have obviously greater reliability than the ones that were concocted and mass-produced much later. He cannot be accused of fabrication as a foreigner or as an enemy of Muhammadan Islam. When Gabriel ordered him to read Iqra, Muhammad asked him correctly and sensibly, "What shall I read?" Since the coverlet had writings on it, as Muhammad himself asserts, then it is obvious and totally rational to assume that Gabriel wanted him to read the writing on the coverlet. Why else would Muhammad on 3 consecutive occasions reply by asking Gabriel, "What shall I read?" The astonishingly simple conclusion, based upon Muhammad's answer alone, by asking Gabriel with "What shall I read?" instead of the altered versions of "I cannot read," asserts the fact that he could read. Other questions should be asked regarding this verse. Question 4. Since this was the very first alleged divinely revealed verse to Muhammad, why then is it not in the first surah chapter, where it truly belongs, but is instead relegated to Surah 96? Question 5. If Muhammad was a prophet, how then was it possible that he forgot the date of the most momentous event of his life, as asserted in the hadiths? Question 6. The original story of creation is only mentioned in the Torah, as revealed to Moses directly, Kalimullah, and not through a second-hand transmission. The Quran asserts that this was the case. God mentions that he created mankind from the dust of the earth, and not from either a leech or a blood clot. The answer to all these anomalies, inconsistencies, irregularities, and illogic is truly simple. Allah is Muhammad's own alter ego and mouthpiece. Allah is not the God of Abraham, Moses, or Jesus. Allah is actually Muhammad pretending to have been receiving revelations from Allah to give his concocted verses the aura of divinity. Muhammad was not a prophet, but a pathological liar, a child molester, a serial rapist, a mass murderer, and a charlatan. Muhammad's Quran is as ungodly as Hitler's Mein Kampf.